This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Stick around to hear more about the special offer they're providing to the entire upper echelon community. Alright, some of you may know this, most of you probably don't, but lately I've been taking a bit of a break content-wise because, to put this delicately, I am completely burnt out on the current reality of social media. As an example, just one example, I can't even log into Twitter anymore without seeing some kind of suggested content that just has outright horrible violence in it, which I'm pretty sure has a compounding effect over time on people's mental health. And I've also had personal stuff going on. However, something that doesn't seem to be taking any sort of break is the completely deserved, absolutely justified, and deeply satisfying destruction of mrbeast's public reputation after he became the world's largest social media influencer by leveraging some of the most sleazy, disreputable, and materialistic techniques you can possibly imagine. Now, to be absolutely clear, I don't think the lawsuit that I'll be mostly focusing on for today will actually go anywhere because a lawsuit like this is almost certainly destined to be settled out of court. When you have sleazy pieces of shit like Jimmy Donaldson and mismanaged companies like Beast Holdings, they can't survive the process of search and discovery because they know what they did wrong and they know what the optics will be. It doesn't matter how much money they have, people think it does, and it can, but it doesn't in certain situations like this one. It doesn't matter what law firm they hire. Eventually, when you consistently act like garbage all day, every day for the sake of profit, you end up with a simple cost-benefit equation of, I have screwed up repeatedly, and if we actually fight these people in public, the world's going to openly see at least some of those screw-ups, which is the precise point in time where the con man or the dirt bag suddenly goes, wait, I'm sorry, I'm reasonable, let's find a settlement here. And then they use a non-disclosure agreement to make sure nobody says anything after they get bent over in private. The sleazy dirtbag media mogul comes out looking fine on paper because that's their ultimate goal, but behind the scenes, they lost. They know it, their opposition certainly knows it, but the public just never gets to see the details. In my opinion, that's precisely what's about to happen here, with very little uncertainty, I might add, because Beast Games is a dumpster fire of a production, so much so that I'm quite frankly baffled by the fact that Amazon is still working with this guy. I would be holistically unsurprised, actually, if we got some sort of announcement soon that they're not working with him anymore, but that's pure speculation on my part. I guess we'll find out over time. So lately, advertising itself has become a sort of game of psychological manipulation here on YouTube, like having a progress bar for the advertisement at the bottom of the screen that deceptively makes you think the sponsored part is about to be over, but it's really not, which is perfectly legal, mind you. But in my opinion, it's a fundamentally disrespectful thing for your own audience. With that in mind, yes, today is a sponsored video, and yes, I'm about to talk about a product, but I'm also going to do it in a clear-cut, straightforward way. The sponsor is Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, a virtual private network. Most of you have probably heard of them. And VPNs protect you against a bunch of different things. Nothing in cybersecurity is ever 100% effective. It's a tool, not a miracle. But Surfshark protects against certain types of phishing attacks, malware, DNS tunneling, DDoS attacks in particular, and also against invasive data harvesting practices from big tech companies. On top of that, Surfshark unlocks additional content on streaming websites, such as Netflix, for example. You can change your region, thereby adding additional options in your video library because of geographic licensing contracts. And Surfshark gets around regional censorship, like the government deciding to block things, as well as encryption, IP protection, modification, and more. Surfshark operates completely separate infrastructure from NordVPN. Surfshark also maintains a warrant canary. I will never use or endorse a VPN that doesn't. And if you click the link down below using promo code Echelon, you can take advantage of a special community-wide offer for up to 4 months for free. Again, that's promo code Echelon with the link down below for a community-wide special offer. Big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring the channel. Back on task. This right here is a redacted version of the overall complaint because, quote, the plaintiffs have filed this action using pseudonyms and applying conservative redactions that limit public viewing in a good faith effort to comply with defendants' overbroad confidentiality provisions, which plaintiff alleges are unenforceable, as well as to preserve the confidentiality and privacy interests of the plaintiffs who wish to avoid opprobrium. Opprobrium meaning backlash or criticism in this case from mentally deficient Beast fans. At this point, I'm going to read the basic overview of complaints on the cover page, actually, because there's not really that much to see down below since a lot of it is redacted. Quote, class action complaint for failure to pay minimum wages, liquidated damages for failure to pay minimum wages, failure to pay overtime, sexual harassment, failure to prevent sexual harassment, negligent infliction of emotional distress, failure to prevent uninterrupted meal breaks, failure to provide uninterrupted rest breaks, failure to pay wages promptly upon termination, failure to provide accurate and itemized wage statements, failure to indemnify for employee expenses and losses in discharging duties, unfair business practices, false advertising, declaratory relief, end quote. Here's the whole obligatory "I'm not a lawyer" disclaimer, because massive YouTube lawyers apparently like to take people out of context and make things up for the sake of twisting arguments. But even with that in mind, this complaint seems pretty obviously geared towards the classification of contestants as now employees under California state law, which would then result in a lot of responsibilities and compensation requirements. Something I'll address at the end of the video. That claim actually takes on a whole new light in the full context of how the company routinely operates, but I'll get to that later on. I can't speak to the future of that claim, but a lot of what they have in here goes hand in hand with a multitude of other revelations about the general mismanagement of Beast Holdings. They even cite in the lawsuit directly the production manual that was leaked a few weeks ago, where they say things like "no doesn't mean no," and they talk about how if talent wants to draw a dick on the whiteboard in the video or do something stupid, let them, going on to say, really, do everything you can to empower the boys when filming and help them make content. Help them be idiots, end quote. This isn't the first time we've heard about sexual harassment at this company. It's not the first time we've heard about issues with their competitions. It's just a formalized version of those problems in one isolated production, admittedly a very large production, with an emphasis on contestants qualifying as employees to expand the scope. But even if we make the jump and talk about actual employees here, not regular contestants now claimed to be employees, the picture doesn't get any better. Beast Games has filmed in 2 locations so far, Las Vegas and Toronto, Canada. During the Vegas shoot, YouTuber Rosanna Pansino posted an email that she had been sent, allegedly from the IATSE, which states Beast Games, aka Project Greenlight, had been deemed an unfair production, where union workers were prohibited from working on set. For anyone who doesn't know, the IATSE is the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, and I can't necessarily speak further on this because I haven't seen the actual email, but what I can speak further on is the ACTRA, which is the Alliance of Canadian Cinema, Television, and Radio Artists, which has publicly posted "do not work" notices on their bulletin. To be fair, non-union productions aren't exactly uncommon. You can have a television show that does not work directly with these unions, absolutely. But see, normal productions don't result in their contestants getting frequently hospitalized. Normal productions aren't starving their contestants with inadequate meals and then feeding them shitty chocolate bars in front of a camera, telling them to say how much they love it. "Oh, you love that Feastables bar, don't you?" for free advertising. Normal productions aren't losing contestants' underwear and depriving women on their period of their personal belongings, or withholding proper treatment. I could go on, like how normal productions don't misplace medications or hire registered sex offenders, but I think most people get the point. There's basically 3 different angles right now. First was the Ava Chris Tyson fiasco. I don't need to go in depth on that. It's mostly in the past anyway, but it opened the door for a lot more stuff to come out as the carefully cultivated "I'm the perfect golden boy, look at me" atmosphere began showing signs of weakness. Second was the workplace culture allegations from Dogpack 404, which is kind of ongoing in a sense, where it came out that the company had knowingly hired sex offenders, run dozens of alleged illegal lotteries, and a whole bunch more that I've covered super in depth already, so no need to rehash. But then third is the Beast Games stuff, and that's where I think the company's genuinely the most vulnerable right now. Amazon brought them in for a $100 million production. It's like the biggest game show in history, apparently. They are now making headlines repeatedly as people get hospitalized, injured, or mistreated. And now they're getting sued because they screwed up so bad so many times, the lawyers found an actual opening. Like I said earlier, this lawsuit will almost certainly disappear from here forward, in my opinion. It goes to a back room, some money changes hands, easy peasy, no more public scrutiny for that one. But there's also the issue of what they're choosing to actually respond to. When I say respond, right, I mean public statements, because there's plenty of responses, other responses, if you know where to look, like how they got accused of running illegal lotteries, then they frantically deleted every single trace of those live streams that they could find, which I would personally call a cover-up. But again, I've talked about that before. The thing is, when it comes to actual human interaction personal responses to address concerns, criticisms, or other issues, there's basically nothing. The only thing they have done is come out and defend their new Lunchables alternative, which is probably the least interesting or impactful criticism that anyone could possibly have of them. Just to quickly explain, MrBeast, KSI, and Logan Paul, of all people, have decided to launch some sort of garbage ass Lunchables competitor right now, which people are complaining is unhealthy, and it probably is, but that's what they've decided to collectively respond about. To be completely honest, it makes sense. Avoid the hard hitting problems and fixate on whatever small thing you can find where it's not a big deal and the critics look like they're nitpicking, because they probably don't even have a valid response to the fact that they've most likely violated sweepstakes law on multiple separate occasions, hired a sex offender knowingly, which destroys the image of a child friendly channel, and a whole bunch more chronic failures that they're quite obviously attempting to shove under the rug. But even when they use the strategy of avoiding legitimate complaints in favor of the ones that they can brush off more easily, they still look bad because it's not the first or the only problem they've had when it comes to food. Beast Burger, which was one of the earlier attempts at making a food business, resulted in a $100 million lawsuit because it was mismanaged trash. Feastables ran a highly suspect lottery system in Australia, which I'm pretty sure is going to come back around to bite them soon here, and also decided to remove the no slave labor claim from their website, which again resulted in controversy. And now they're launching a Lunchables competitor, which contains Prime Energy as the drink, when Prime Energy has had not one, not two, not three, not four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12 separate products that are alleged by the Environmental Research Center to contain lead or mercury, while the founder of Prime Hydration claims that their new Lunchables competitor is better for you because Lunchables previously got accused of having lead in it. You couldn't make this shit up if you tried. Anyway, bottom line is that a lawsuit has appeared, a class action lawsuit aimed at Beast Holdings and Amazon, because the Beast Games program, allegedly, is so horrifically mismanaged, it's a danger to people's health and safety. The lawsuit is likely to disappear now as it fades into the obscurity of backroom deals and non-disclosure agreements. However, the damage is done when it comes to public reputation. Final thoughts here. I don't think he's going to go down over any of the moral issues or the ethical problems. The stuff that will genuinely hurt his company is stuff like this, buried in the most recent lawsuit, but in my opinion, much more impactful than practically anything else it contains entirely. Quote, defendants knowingly misclassified the contestants blank in part to obtain a tax credit for $2,252,523 from the state of Nevada, which defendants, on information and belief, would not have received if they had disclosed the production's actual labor costs, including the significant labor of the blank contestants in the budget they presented to the Nevada Film Commission with their tax credit application. End quote. Once again, straying into the realm of speculation on my part, MrBeast's game show productions have routinely used their own employees as contestants. There are myriad cases where personal friends, work staff, significant others, etc., production managers have all competed as if they are legitimate random subscriber contestants. Now, whether or not that's lying to the audience, this, that, or the other, doesn't matter. It's just that they take their staff, their employees, shove them in a competition as if they're a contestant in that competition. That's the important through line here. And if I'm reading this right, it sounds like the same may have happened here, with a misclassification of who these people are or how they relate to the company in order to obtain millions in tax credits. And that is where, in my estimation, there can be actual damaging consequences. A lot of the stuff he's done is reprehensible, yes, but if this lawsuit is accurate, filing false paperwork to get money that you should not have from the government is when you stray into the territory of windbreakers kicking down your door. And yes, people with a lot of money routinely violate laws or get away with crimes that the rest of us would immediately get destroyed for. But when your reputation turns toxic like this, you become a fair target for people who want to score easy political points. If you're the golden boy philanthropist who everybody loves, then people just look the other way when you destroy something or break a bunch of rules. If you're the self-centered narcissist who's endangering people and refusing any sort of accountability while taking millions in tax credits that they shouldn't have, nailing you for fraud isn't some sort of risk to someone's reputation. It's an easy benefit to them. At the end of the day, I can't say with any degree of certainty what will happen, but I can speculate that the lawsuit itself disappears while major surrounding players begin to wake up, get some distance, I think, and figure out how exactly they want to handle this upstart guy making waves where he shouldn't be making waves. That's it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below, locals and Patreon, the video sponsor, Surfshark, of course, and more, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. Oh, and for people that care, yes, this is way too much content about the same topic lately. I've just over and over talked about MrBeast, but that's what's in the news cycle, so there it is. The next two projects, however, I'm working on are a revisit of cancel culture featuring Sarah Daniels and Chris Barrett, which is a whole Bungie thing, and a creator named Say No to Rage from a while ago. It's a fun one from a few years back. and another round of social media bot network stuff featuring dead internet theory topics and AI, and a couple indie spotlights for video games that I've been delaying for months at this point, but I'm working on them. As always, thank you all for watching, question everything, and have a nice night.